Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a project for you today. This is going to be my week 1 card for the Full Deck Challenge. If you are not familiar with the Full Deck Challenge, this is a challenge hosted by Shana over at Shana I. I will post her channel, I'll link it down below if you're not familiar. This is her 3rd iteration of Full Deck Challenge, and each year she's kind of done different prompts. So this was a card I did last year from the prompts, and you can see I actually used a playing card. And but this year when she was doing her kind of starter video, her very first video, she was talking about, if you don't have playing cards or whatever, you could, all the different options that you could use. And one of the things that she mentions were like these pocket journaling cards, these project life cards. And I have a ton of these in my stash and need to use them up. And so I went through and I found I have some that are actually Project Life. I have some that are Everyday Explorer, just a lot of different brands. But I had some that were just like significantly thicker paper. And so those are the ones that I'm going to be using for this challenge. And then the other part of this challenge is that you need to have something that goes through all 52 weeks. And so for me, I am going to be using a word. And I thought it would be fun to kind of pull in my studies from my word studies. And I will make a card for the week for the word study that I did for that week, if that makes sense. So I did a word study last week for purify. And so that's what I'm going to do for this first card here. And then, so every week I will have that my word will be the thing that continues from week to week. And then the other part of the challenge that she has included is that whatever you do, like something from week 1 card needs to show up in week 2. And then something from week 2 will show up in week 3 and kind of, go that way. Watch her introductory video if you are interested in participating in this challenge. And then the other prompt for week 1 was the color red. So you can see I have just pulled out a bunch of red things here to create a little collage on my card. So I really like the Project Life cards because they're just a little bit bigger than the playing cards that I used last year for Full Deck Challenge. And so it gives me a little bit more real estate to work with, but also I'm not dealing with having to mess with that kind of glossy aspect of a playing card. And so I just went through my stash. I pulled out a bunch of things and I'm going to get started. So I have this index card. This was actually done with some acrylic ink. I'm using a hole punch here and a 1-inch hole punch, just punching out some holes. This is more on the pinky red side, but I'm calling it good enough. And then I had that image from an old book page, and that I decided that is what I really want to keep as my focal image. I also have some matte paper back there you can kind of see. So now I'm just pulling out a piece of deli paper to work on so I don't make my desk a huge mess as I'm trying to do all these things. And I really just want to keep on that section right in the middle where the guys in the front have red, and then in the background you can see some red on the wall and stuff as well. So that's going to be the area that's going to end up on my card. And then I had this map page, which I love as well. Obviously this is a vintage map too. So I'm pulling in that area that has that really red section of it and just kind of tour around that. And I'll keep pulling this focal image back in as I'm working just to kind of see. But if you've never participated in the Full Deck Challenge, I would encourage you to give it a try. It's a fun way to just kind of work from challenges that are fun. I've mentioned that in other videos. That's something that I really enjoy doing. It just kind of forces you outside of your box. But also having a consistent thing every week is really fun. And I am really excited to kind of try to tie this into some of the other things that I do creatively, like my word studies and those kinds of things, because, even though I like doing all kinds of different styles of art, I always want to keep my focus where it needs to be. And so being able to sort of pull in these words from the word studies and stuff, I feel like is going to be a good way for me to really just keep focusing on what I'm learning. And so even like on the back of this card, I might make some notes or include some of the takeaways from this word when I created my word study. So it's just kind of, or even maybe the verse that I used, it's just another way to kind of really cement all of those things that I'm learning along the way. So what you've seen me do here, I glued those circles. I glued them kind of half off of the card here. I'm going to trim those down. I glued down the map page, obviously kind of adjusting where I wanted that. And then again, just keep pulling that focal image back in just to make sure that I have everything kind of where I want. And I realized because I want so much of that image, I'm losing that third circle. And I really need for there to be 3. It's just more visually appealing to my eye. So I'm just adding another little circle up here at the top that also pulls in just a little bit of the yellow from the background of my image. And then I am pulling out some white gesso. This is a nearly empty bottle of Dina Wakley gesso. It's just a heavy body, which is why I wanted to use it. And a brayer, I'm just rolling this over my card very lightly just to kind of pull everything together. You certainly don't have to do this. You could do it with a credit card scraper or whatever. I just didn't want that much paint on there. I just wanted kind of a sprinkling of it, just really as a way to sort of tie all of those images and the different pieces together. You can see I just used that jelly plate print that's sitting there on my desk to wipe off the rest of the paint on that brayer. And then because it's such a super thin coat of paint, it dried almost immediately. So now I'm coming in with a Stabilo pencil. This is a water-soluble pencil, and I'm going around those, basically those scallops that I made, and then I'm going to do a little border as well. And then I will come back around with a water brush and basically activate that pigment. This is just a nice way to get shadowing, and I'm using a different water brush than I usually use, and it's a flat one, and it's just a little bit too wide, so I kind of had to get creative with how I was doing this. My other water brush has walked off somewhere. I need to find it, but so I'm just kind of using this one, trying to make do. You could even just, use a paintbrush and some water, and just kind of going around all those images, even that third one, even though I don't really need it. And then I kind of go around the edges as well. I like everything, I just feel like it looks better with a border. And so now I'm going to add in my focal image. I'm doing this last. I didn't want it to get too wet or anything. So I'm going to add this on here and just kind of decide exactly where I want, making sure that I get, obviously, their legs on there. And then I didn't want to make it too short and end up cutting them off. So I'm just going to wrap this excess around to the back of the card. The back of the card, like I said, is just going to have some notes or whatever back there. And then I'm coming around with my distressing tool. If this is Tim Holtz, you could use open scissors or whatever. I just happen to have that tool, and it's quite handy. And then now I'm going to add my word. So this is the thing that I will be using every single week, which is my Dymo label maker, to put a word on each of my card. And because this is such like a heavy, black, I did kind of make the edge look like it was washi tape by cutting a jagged edge on that left side of that. And so I'm going to bring in just a little bit more black because it's so kind of heavy. And so what I'm doing is adding a little bit of water to my deli paper there, and then I'm just dipping the Stabilo pencil in there and going around like the very edge of that card after I've distressed it, and it's really just going to kind of soak up all of that pigment. And then I'm coming around now with a fine liner pen, and I'm going around the sort of inside of those circles, and I'm doing really, really sketchy lines and multiple lines so that it kind of imitates that image that I have down there, that kind of very cartoony drawing. Has a lot of like lines and cross hatching and stuff for shading. And so I wanted to add some of that to the background of my card just to kind of make it all more cohesive. And then I'm going to go around my word there again, and that's going to be it for me. So it's a really simple card, but a lot of fun. I'm super excited about this project, and I hope you'll stay tuned and watch as these come through the weeks. Let me know if this is going to be something that you would enjoy seeing. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and until next time, bye.